So, guys, without wasting much of your time, now I shall begin with the summary of the choice, written by Robert Morgan. Ready? So, I begin with the summary. Sometimes in the second half of the 21st century, when the Earth was almost destroyed, a spacecraft visits an abandoned city between two hills. In it are Captain Starklet and Suncott, who is the celestial geologist. They are studying the possible causes of destruction of this city. Having studied a meteoroid that broke away from the Earth in 2048, Suncon has learned that the men on the Earth had themselves caused their death. So they are responsible for the end, their own end. Even though men knew they were destroying the Earth by polluting, cutting down forests, and emitting dangerous gases, they didn't stop such activities. They knew what was right and what was evil. But fools, they chose the evil way. So, it's this is a summary. And the further summary, in short, I can tell you it's about two aliens, Starklane and Suncor, who landed on a stretch of video between two hills that faced a crumbling city. The city was once a prosperous one, but overpopulation and overconsumption of natural resources brought decay to the city. All died, men and animal. The city was rendered lifeless. The theme, the poem is a warning for men. It warns us to take maximum care of the planet we survive rather than live. Tall trees and superhighways don't mean progress. Tall trees and wide stretches of forest is progress. Man well knows that the earth is burning back to a carbon ball, yet he is reckless. He ignores the warnings and goes on destroying the planet. It is time to realize that we are not inhabiting this planet, we are slowly outhabiting it. They were landing, and the great thrust pressed like magnetism on their bodies. The great ship hovered then slowly, dropped on meadow grass. There are a few questions which are raised and which are to be answered. Shall I read the first question for you? Oh, yes. Who were landing and where? So, Star Glenn, the captain of the spacecraft, and Suncor, the celestial geologists, were landing on a meadow grass of a crumbling city between two hills. The city was once a prosperous and glorious one. Second question, what do you understand about the great ship? The great ship referred here is the spacecraft by which Starglen and Suncor traveled to scan and study the Earth from another planet which was still flourishing. Starglen, the captain, stared at the green landscape. Between two hills, a deserted city, crumbling and overgrown, pattered. The scanning screen, the dials on a blue screen indicated new life, no human life present. So, how does the poet present the earth without human trace? So it is clearly seen here in the poet, by the poet's lines in the given poem. The poet presents a green planet without humans. Humans were the greatest threat against ecological balance, and with them gone, the balance returned, and the landscape regained its vitality and charm. Another question: what for was Starglen and Suncon on a visit to the Earth? The Starglen and Suncon were exploring the Earth for crumbled cities and traces for life. Why are the cities said to be deserted? The city here had once been a flourishing one with wonderful skyscrapers and modern technology, but the same pace of development led to its decay along with people had either migrate to other cities or they were killed. They were all killed. The sun con the celestial geologist smiled over his captain's shoulder. You were right, said Starglen. They must have been a very aggressive people. What was your main information? Why did Starglen say that they must have been very aggressive people? Whom is he referring to? The great meteorite, which broke from Earth in 2048 AD, we took it to the station Z and examined it. It told us everything. How did the researchers get information regarding the mass destruction of the Earth? And what do you understand by Station Z? It told us everything. What told everything? What? Asked Starglen. So they were allowed to choose between good and evil. Fools, muttered Starglen. What did the examination of broken meteorite reveal? Who were allowed to choose? What were the choices? Why did Starglen call the humans the fools? So there's answers to all this and many more. They are all hidden in this poem. And once you go through the poem, okay. So this poem is written in free verse. This poem also dramatizes the chance confrontation of a groundhog and terrier. As the speaker relates the setting, the poet uses the design of the groundhog den to provide an alternative option to the latest conflict. Morgan asserts the layout of the groundhog den always had a black door, and doing so introduces the option to conflict. The vocabulary confronted used to herald the terrier's presence suggests the potential for conflict. The tone of speaker uses with the word tearing in the line tearing at the upon entrance confirms the potential for your violence. When the wood chunk exits out the bag, the poet utilizes the option inherent in the den to allow the animals to flee. The confrontation. As the wood chunk surfaces in weeds or a thicket, the poet's rhetoric could imply the choice is cowardly. However, in the following lines, the speaker asserts the wisdom of the choice of freedom over the possibility of being victimized. Victimized, as described in lines 7 and 8, prisoner or martyr in his own borrow. In line 9, the speaker again stresses the whistle pig has an option for his whereabouts, respectfully terming its deniability. It is interesting to note the poet never refers to the groundhog using the same vocabulary. The speaker chooses a total of three different nouns to reference the animals, with whistlepick being the last and least flattering language. This could imply a disrespectful slant if analyzed in the context. So it may be disrespectful. So this could imply, I shall read out again, this could imply a disrespectful slant if analyzed out of context. But the poet is closing refers. So the poet in the closing refers to the option taken by the groundhog as the alibi of absence, and in doing so, posits the action as a plausible defense. The poet's choice of vocabulary for the conclusion provides convincing support and approval for the utility of clever retreat and evasiveness. The option. So that's all from the poem. Okay, the poem, The Choice, written by Robert Morgan. So, guys, that's all for today. Be happy. I'll take leave from you. May God bless us all. Thank you and have a wonderful day ahead. God bless you all once again.